Is the Saab 9.3 with the 5-speed automatic, is the transmission reliable? Yes. I believe this car, which I bought at about 90,000 miles, I don't think it was well taken care of. I did change the transmission fluid at about 95,000, and it's hard to say how this transmission should be performing, but based on my experience with a lot of other cars, this transmission shifts perfectly. It downshifts just like it should, there's no slippage, and it's been great. I wish it had 6 gears, honestly, but 5 gears with the standard power output of this motor I think is fine. At about 70 miles an hour, it's only pulling about 2,300 RPMs. So gets decent mileage at, I would say, a normal highway speed. But this transmission has been great. I've now been running the Map Tune Stage 1, which is an additional 40 horsepower and 55 foot-pounds of torque for 20,000 miles now, and it still shifts fine. There's no change at all. The transmission is still doing exactly what it should. There's no slippage. I did do a remedial transmission drain and fill again, because this transmission, there's no filter. So basically, to change the fluid, you need to drain it, run it for a couple thousand miles, and then drain it again and put some fresh fluid in so that you get kind of a complete change. But it's super easy. You just pull the plug on the bottom, drain the fluid out, refill with the same amount of fluid into, you just need a long funnel, but super easy to service this transmission. The only downside is it uses I would, you know, maybe you can use a universal fluid. I would not do that. I would use the exact fluid, which is Mobil 3309. It's called Mobil 3309. Just use that fluid. That way you know you don't have any issues with it. But in this car, this has about 130,000 miles now. I drive it in an aggressive manner occasionally. Sometimes I put my foot all the way to the floor, and this thing is still shifting great. So I think that's pretty impressive. This transmission is also in the Nissan Maxima with the 3.3 liter, I believe, V6. It's the identical transmission, and from what I understand, that transmission is also reliable if it is serviced like any transmission. So is this 9.3 transmission any good? Yeah, I would say it's a reliable transmission. I wouldn't expect any modern car to surpass 200,000 miles, let's say, without some kind of transmission work. So considering this probably wasn't well maintained, 130,000 miles still shifts great. I think that's reliable.